10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us this Friday, the 13th, December 13th, 2024. So yeah, Friday the 13th. That doesn't happen every day, and all our superstitious people, maybe that's why we're getting off to a bit of a late start this morning. Maybe the glitches that happened this morning have everything to do with what people make out Friday the 13th to be. Although there's lots of lore behind the idea of the 13th and where it came from, and that's up to you to do your research on it, and it's pretty interesting. Let's dive right in. We have a Nick Gervais who's waiting in the balances to come on and have a conversation with us this morning. We'll dive right in with a little bit of weather first, but let you know we're live on CKLU 96.7 FM, as we are each and every weekday morning between 7:30 and 8:30 a.m. Also streaming live at cklu.ca. Click on the Radio Player Canada app or download it. Take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. While you're there, purchase some merch and help keep the lights on and the airwaves open. And if you already got the merch, you don't need it. You can just simply smash the donate button and contribute whatever you think you can do. And however you feel this station is important to our community, we appreciate any donations and all of your support. It's totally much appreciated by all of the volunteers and staff here at CKLU, and it's actually needed more than ever. So if you're able to do that, we appreciate it. Also, streaming live streaming on facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow the channel and the page to make sure that we can get the word out for those who might enjoy this conversation in the morning, sharing your views on the news. And that's exactly what we do. And we're going to do that this morning. It's your conversation on your station, CKLU 96.7 FM. We're also found on demand on those platforms, along with twitter.com/Sudbury News and Sudbury.news, your news aggregator, which you just click on the Sudbury News Talk tab and you can watch us on demand. Conversation only continues on Facebook, however, so make sure to share your comments on YouTube or Facebook today on the live. We'll do our best to read them. For those listening, get them up on the screen. For those watching, we're just going to dive into a little bit of weather. We'll be back with your comments, news headlines, and Nick Gervais right after this. Okay, and Sudbury weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. Currently, it is 17 degrees out there, and it feels like minus 21. So it is very cold, and today it will be sunny, apparently. Wind will be gusting up to 40 kilometers per hour. High of minus 10, wind chill minus 22 this morning, and minus 14 this afternoon. Though sunny, very cold. Tonight, clear and no wind, and the wind chill will be minus 19 tonight. So again, another cold night. Saturday, sunny in the morning, then a mix of sun and cloud, 30% chance of flurries this afternoon. I say this like this is exactly what's going to happen. This is from Environment Canada. I'm just reading what they have for their forecast. A lot of times, you just have to pay attention to how the weather is going during the day, and it can change. But this is what they're saying. Tomorrow morning, sunny in the morning, and then a mix of sun and cloud. 30% chance of flurries in the afternoon. High of minus 8. Wind chill minus 21 in the morning, minus 11 in the afternoon. A look at your 6-day forecast. Again, Sunny in the morning, chance of flurries in the afternoon for Saturday. Sunday, 0 degrees and a 30% chance of flurries. Monday, 2 degrees and cloudy. And then starting to get a little cooler again after it gets a little bit warmer. 40% chance of rain or flurries on Tuesday, high of -2. Mix of sun and cloud, high of -8 on Wednesday. And a 60% chance of flurries on Thursday with a high of -8. Look at your satellite taken as of 3:30 this morning. Little less cloud cover than we've seen for the last 2 weeks. And that's where we're going to get a little bit of sun today and tomorrow. That's your Sudbury weather, brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and a Nick Gervais right after this. And we're back. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for being with us, everyone. And because we got off to a bit of a late start, Anna Nick is here as well. So I'll try to get through some of the comments and see how Nick's doing this morning. You haven't been on the show for a while. So how have you been?
I have not. And this morning I was like, you know what? I'm going to see if I can be on the show this morning because I was up and at 'em. And actually someone on TikTok messaged on one of my posts and said, hey, you are on Sudbury News sometimes. And I was like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. I do that sometimes.
I do that sometimes. I usually do it when I don't have Journey, but life has been a little hectic. I'm hosting a friend. She's staying with me. So life gets a little, everything just changes. Your routine changes and it's getting into the groove again. And I figured it's been a while and I always enjoy the show, Aaron. So I love being part of it.
I enjoy the show too. Go figure.
That's good because you do it every day.
Exactly. You kind of have to, right? Gets my brain functioning in the morning. You have to think on the fly, wake up. Sometimes I'm like, after the show, I feel a bit drained because of all the thinking we have to do just with the technology and keep everything going and the troubleshooting. And then once that's done, then it's on air and it's real time. You can't goof up, or you do goof up. And if you do goof up, you got to kind of go with the punches and know how to goof up or whatever, or learn how to goof up. And it can be exhausting.
Exactly. Learn how to goof up and not take it so seriously. You know, sometimes in life we could take things too seriously. So we're not even willing to try new things because we're not an expert at this. Like, I don't know what we're going to talk about. I'm not an expert in any of this stuff, but hey, we're humans. We're just going to be sharing our opinions. And we're just having a conversation. And that's what one of the person that commented on my video said, that it's really cool seeing other people with open mind and having these different conversations. You don't meet that many people. And it reminds me of my Scentsy business. If you need some Scentsy, I'm your girl. But whatever's recognized will grow. So if you really want someone to continually do some certain behavior, when you recognize that behavior, they will more likely do that behavior. So I was like, recognize, like, oh, it's so cool. I like when you're on the show. I'm like, okay, maybe I should go on the show. You know, I like pump my tires a little bit. And I was like, you know what? I do enjoy the show. So it's just interesting how our behaviors are, Aaron. And it's just like, if you were an expert in human behavior, you could really manipulate everything.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's better
in a positive or negative way.
Yeah. Persuade people to possibly elevate their lives and be better, I guess, if you come from a good place. And then unfortunately we talk about people doing it for the opposite reasons too, a lot on the show. And unfortunately,
happening.
It's a part of life, right? But we want to expose those that are doing it and kind of wake up people possibly to the fact that, not everybody is out there with good intentions. And we need to keep people accountable, those that we're paying to administer laws and run the country, run our province, run our city, and just kind of, just shine a light. Basically, shine a light on things. And when there's the light there, darkness has a hard time doing its thing. And darkness is doing very well these days, though. It's very alive and well somehow.
Full throttle.
Yeah, the light has to be shone a little bit more and a little bit brighter. And speaking of the light, all of the people that come on this show each and every day shed such a good light and bless me just for being in this conversation. And I have this great, wonderful opportunity to be this facilitator of this conversation. And first to the YouTube party every morning is Nana, and always positive and always sharing blessings for everybody. And good morning, Nana. And Judy is always usually first on Facebook. So again, we kind of have this tradition here in the morning. Vin, all these, we're all here.
It's the same people. I love it. I just love seeing the same names. It's like a little community that you've created, Aaron. It's so cool.
Well, you will see new people as well since the last time you've been on, because we've been growing. And Marianne from Barrie, liking and sharing as usual. And do you know what that is at all?
Happy Nipply Day.
Yeah, well, that could be Friday the 13th. I don't know, right? So I don't know everything, but that is Pierrette. She's probably new since you've been on last time. She's on
Lucy,
she's on every day.
That's a new name.
Yeah, Lucy. She's been on pretty much again, right? Good morning. The 13th is not, because it will be a beautiful day. It's not a curse. It's not a curse, because it will be a beautiful day. And good morning, Lucy. Just another day. That's Marianne for sure. And
it is whatever you decide. I just watched this really cool video, and this guy was talking about you should never eat food with people you don't like. Because because when you are eating food with people you don't like, you digest it differently. So it's all about your brainwave. So if you're being if you're positive, if you have a great time, you digest your food differently. So it just proves that, like, if we want to have a great day, well, we're going to have a different perspective. We're going to have a different look. We're going to pay attention to different things. If you're like, oh my gosh, the weather crap and this is crap and it's going to be crap, well, you're literally only going to pay attention to the crappy scenario. So it's so cool how if you eat food when you're depressed, it will probably go to your butt. But if you eat food when you're happy, it's probably going to just get eaten up and then you'll just eject it the next morning.
Well, we just came up with the next diet. Just be positive and you can eat whatever you want and you don't gain weight.
I feel like that's the thing I'm on. The positive diet.
Well, another thing too, when you're around good friends, so the opposite of that is eating with friends that you like being around and like-minded people and whatever. It just seems to, you always add food with a good get-together, and it just makes it that much better, right? And and you leave, you feel like you're floating, kind of thing. You're like, I got to do that more often.
I know.
And David's been with us pretty much for the last 3 weeks now, at least.
Wow. You're the number one dad radio show in the city. Trophy Yellow Smiling.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Learning Initiative alum, David.
Ooh, cool.
Yes, for sure. And Nick is as well, David. And Nana wished you a happy belated birthday here. I put that up on the screen just as you were explaining the last thing. And Rick is very new since you've been on. You probably wouldn't have met him. So Rick, happy Friday, everyone. And Pat, I don't know if you remember Pat or not, but good morning, Pat. Smiley emoji. And Disabled Kane, you know him very well. Friday the 13th is the day the Pope and King of France ordered the arrest and subsequent death of the Knights Templar. Yes, I was aware of that. I wanted people to do the research, but Disabled Kane was out there doing it for us, which is great. So that's a little bit of a history for everybody. That's why it's supposed to be a day that's, a negative, has negative connotation to it, right? So number one daddy care radio show in the city. And Brian Poulain, Brian, good morning.
I know Brian.
Patriots, don't forget to mark your calendar for some life-changing tax breaks. I think it's on the 14th, but ends on February 15th. December the 14th, we get the GST holiday all the way to February 15th.
Aaron, it's just so annoying. I saw this other clip on Instagram and the guy's like, it's billions of dollars. They're going to be giving us like $50 each or something. And it turns into like billions of dollars. And literally those billions of dollars, we can create infrastructure. We could help the homeless. We could do so much. But everyone's like, oh, cool. I'm going to get, $75.
I don't know. Are people saying very cool? I haven't heard anyone say, oh, this is great. This is going to change my life.
Either.
I haven't heard one person say, oh, that's good. Not one. I mean, sure, if I go out to a restaurant, my bill is going to be, 13% extra all the time. It's going to be 13% less. And then you're going to feel, well, I got to give it to the server now anyways. So, whatever. So whatever, and it's just going to create a nightmare for the business owners who have to take care of this. They got to now in the middle of the month change all their point of sale.
Oh my
stuff.
gosh!
And then it ends in the middle of a month too in February, and they got to change it back, and then they got to do the books. So the monthly, bookkeeping
the
and stuff.
just for the bookkeeping.
Crazy. And then the government's going to have to manage this afterwards, make sure everybody did it properly, and then have all these bureaucrats keeping an eye on everything, and then doing your taxes. You're going to be sending in your receipts from the small business owners that couldn't do anything to their point of sale. Well, you said I don't have to pay the tax, so I'm including this in my income tax.
Oh, you did it wrong, so now you owe us $1,500, which is something, whatever.
So now it's going to take forever for everyone to get their income tax done.
Do that?
They're
dumb.
Yeah. Anyways, I got a video.
I said it for you.
Yeah. Well, let me see if I got this readily available. If not, whatever. Yeah, let's just see if I got this, and if I can get these reels are a nightmare to get the volume on in time and all this.
You just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. God have mercy on your soul.
So so is that? I wonder if this is going to play again.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. God have mercy on your soul.
See, that just summed up how I feel every time I have to listen to anything. Oh, where are you? Here you. Anything that she has to say. That's the way I feel. Like that guy was he just presented it and just was able to put it in a way to just encapsulate all my feelings in one little video. So that's the way this whole GST rebate thing feels to me. And anytime they try and explain it, it's even worse. So, a lot of welcomes. Good mornings to you, Annette, here on our, people.
Hello, everyone.
Yes. And everyone's happy to see you back. And you identify as Adam. Because you're up in Adam.
So now Anik identifies as Adam?
Because you're up in Adam.
Oh.
That's what you said this morning.
Oh, that's good.
You're up and you're Adam.
I'm up.
And Adam.
And Adam.
Good catch there, Vin. I was going to say something too, but I always do that to people, and I have to stop. I have to stop picking out things people say and whatever. I just let things go. But you jumped on it, so that's fine.
There you go.
Okay, so failure is not getting up after you have fallen. So I think So there's a lot of comments here, and usually I'm behind as we're discussing things, and the comments come in about things, right? So it's just trying to get comments up on the screen here. So we want to start off with getting up to and Natalie's on. Natalie Labby, you know who she is, right?
Yeah, cool. It's funny. I was in town somewhere, and we were talking, and they mentioned Natalie Labby, like, oh, it's so cool. She's in, she made it. She's doing so much work. Yeah. She's doing, it was all really positive, Natalie. And it was just so awesome to hear. I'm like, she is actually trying to make a difference in our town, which is
Me
so
too.
great.
I hear nothing but positive things from people, and that's who you're serving are the people, right? Now I had Mike Perron on the show yesterday.
I saw that.
Yeah, and it was a great conversation. Now, a lot of the comments, and I have to apologize to our viewers and listeners, they had some deep questions that had to do with global influence in our communities and things like that. And geoengineering, which is a real thing that isn't really, acknowledged by a lot of people per se, and especially those in power in our community. The jets that fly over us each and every day, you got the long lines, and then it turns into clouds. And what the heck's in those long lines? You know what I mean? Oh, that's normal. It's been like that forever. No, it hasn't been. It's a new thing in and around the late 1990s, kind of started as a geoengineering experiment, if you will, on the Earth to dim the sun because of the global warming. But they don't really want to kind of make it that public because it's full of all kinds of stuff that ain't good for you.
It's true.
And it could be more detrimental than positive. And so they don't really want it known and whatever. And good morning, Mike. Thanks for being on again. Another name that you might not be familiar with here. Yeah, so many comments coming in. But yeah, so there are questions like that. But we had a great conversation nonetheless. And we want to talk a little bit about what we didn't get a chance to talk about with him yesterday, and that's speed cameras. It's your favorite thing. Remember you were petitioning the city to put in more speed cameras? Remember you went around door to door and said, our roads aren't safe enough. Yes. We need more speed cameras in Sudbury.
I did that. That's sarcasm. That is sarcasm.
I would have expected maybe a Nick to do the opposite thing to that, possibly, if it was going to be reality to some extent. But I was just being sarcastic. Yeah. So, yeah, you're not in favor of speed cameras. I'm not in favor of speed cameras. I don't think a lot of people are in favor of speed cameras. I'd actually like to have a whatchamacallit, where you get everybody to vote on it in the city.
Right.
A referendum. And, just vote on it. I'd also like to have a referendum for the city to see if we want to have a third-party audit of our city just to keep things on the up and up. And yes, blessings, everyone. Good morning, Denise. Thanks for being on. And, but anyways, so I found this news segment about what Alberta's doing. Everyone says, well, Alberta does it. Alberta has all these photo radar, and they're like way ahead of it. They got thousands of these things.
Wow.
But you know what they're doing now? You know what they've realized?
What?
People are very against it, and it just creates a big boundary between government and people. They think you're out surveilling them. You're taking all their money for no reason. It's not about safety. It's about money.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this a lot too, right?
Yeah.
Like they keep saying, oh, it's a success because people are slowing down. Okay.
Yeah. In that little spot.
Yeah. Yeah. But
it causes accidents because if someone's coming from out of town and they don't know, then everyone just slams on their brakes, like on Micker Heights. Everyone just slams on their brakes. People are like, whoa, when there's black ice going to, start appearing, that could cause
It could definitely cause an accident. Now, I'd have to argue it probably wouldn't cause that many accidents. People are going 60 or 50 or whatever the speed limit is with the camera. I think it does slow people down. But where are the statistics to begin with of how many accidents were in those areas? Right. How many people were harmed beforehand to then compare it with the figures afterwards as you look at the figures after the camera? Look, we have less accidents. We have less insurance claims. We have less fatalities or less injuries. But no, they're not doing that. And you can tell it's just handing you a load of crap. When you just say, oh, it's going to make things safer, that's not good enough. And Alberta has realized this, and they've set precedents. A politician has actually admitted it, what the citizens have actually been saying all along. And good morning, Andrew. Thanks for being on. Andrew's been on every single day for a while as well. So anyways, here you go. Here's some of the news of that in Alberta, and listen to what the politician has to say. This is music to most of our ears.
So my question for all of you today is, why does it seem like the small towns in Alberta always seem to be the ones sticking up for freedom? Not just in this example, but as we've also seen with photo radar, for example. I mean, do you think there's anything that could occur in the cities to force them to follow suit or perhaps just encourage them? Anyways, speaking of photo radar, let's hop into the next story, which is of the Alberta government announcing it would end using photo radar as a revenue generator at a Monday press conference. Alberta's Minister of Transportation, Devin Dreeshen, had the following to say about the cash cow that is photo radar.
Our goal is clear: to ensure that photo radar is a tool for protecting people, not a government cash cow. Last year alone, Alberta's photo radar system generated $145 million, but this revenue came at the expense of public trust. With these changes, we are putting safety first. Let me be clear, our government has zero tolerance for dangerous or reckless driving. Traditional enforcement has always been, and always will be, important to keep our roads and communities safe. These changes ensure that enforcement focuses on where it matters most, protecting lives and enhancing safety on our roads. This is a historic day for Alberta drivers as we turn up the heat, we fire up the grill, and say goodbye to the photo radar cash cow.
So starting April 1st, 2025, photo radar usage will be restricted to schools, playgrounds, and construction zones. Photo radar will also be removed from intersections where drivers were ticketed speeding on a green light. However, red light cameras will remain. Every single photo radar site in Alberta will be reviewed over the next 4 months. The changes are anticipated to bring down the current 2,200 photo radar sites down to 650 locations, which is a 70% reduction.
Now, doesn't that make sense? And did you hear the reasoning the government had there? It said they'll still have cameras, but where are they going to put them? In school zones.
Yeah, construction.
And, other sites where it makes sense that people can actually make a case that there's been a lot of accidents or something to that effect. Not just, it's going to make you safer. And they admitted it was a cash cow right there.
Crazy.
$150 million a year, cash cow.
Wow. And let's say, if we knew, if they're spending this $150 million, they're building new housing, they are
something
doing
that's going to be very productive.
People are like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Literally, that's all they have to do is okay, guys, we made $150 million. We're going to build a bigger hospital, or we're going to, help more children. We're going to do this. We're going to create a healthcare system. People will be like, you know what? Okay. So again, right there, they're kind of missing a big opportunity to do something really big in our town. That's paying almost 1/3 or 1/4 of our Sudbury arena. So I'm just saying, then they're like, hey guys, we're going to have even bigger. So again, it's just a bunch of idiots running the show here that are not taking advantage. They're just taking advantage of people. And then people are complaining. So they're like, okay, we'll shut this down. Instead of really taking an opportunity to you know what? There's a lack of trust. Let's take this opportunity to make it better.
Yeah. And Judy came on. She said she might not be a fan of Natalie. So you saw that? Okay. I just wanted to share that. So, because just to keep things real and to keep things transparent. And that's the problem with our socialist society, is that all the money goes into a big pile and you don't know where any of it's going. And so when you raise money like they just did, like you said, for the cameras. Now, let's say they said, now all the money that comes from these cameras, because they are generated from people driving, are going to go to roads.
Wow.
Can you imagine if Sudbury did that?
Wow.
Now, this is just hey, Sudbury, if you put all the money you made from these cameras, this would be a good way that you could get if you were going to. I'm still not a fan of them. But if you said the money itself is going to be very transparent, it's going to come in and it's going to go to road initiatives to make sure our roads, which are some of the worst in Canada, and make sure that they're good. And we have lots of them, right? So you can make the argument, we don't have enough money. Like Mike said on the show yesterday, we're the second largest landmass. And then Miles was able to tell us that Timmins is the first largest landmass city in Canada. So Timmins has similar problems in Sudbury, and they got terrible roads too. But they said, okay, the money from these cameras are going to go directly to roads. So now, would you be as mad? No, you'd still be not
I
jumping for
would
joy.
definitely want an audit of the company doing the
Exactly.
roads, because the companies who are doing the roads are doing a really crappy job, because there are other cities like ours that have snow like ours, and they have
Yeah.
incredible roads.
Yeah.
So, there's too many friends up there and they are just cutting costs. But again, the ripple effect, like how many times we have to change our tires or brakes or rotors or whatever, the ripple effect of that, we don't instantly see it, but you will have more money in your pocket
Yeah.
because you're not going through potholes and destroying your vehicles. Our vehicles will last longer, which would be so great. I would love that idea, but we know that that's never going to happen.
But maybe it's a way to stimulate the economy, the city. If we have a lot of potholes, then it gives a lot of these mechanics business, right? So it stimulates the economy in that
Well,
way.
that's why whatever you buy, it breaks in 5 years, like a washer dryer. Like back in the
Yeah.
day, you bought a washer dryer, it's good for life. So
Mhm.
now there is a life expectancy
Yeah.
on everything. Even
For
our
sure.
phones. My phone's acting all weird because it wants me to do the upgrade, but everyone's talking about this latest upgrade. It's not good. So I have not been wanting to do, but I'm having all these issues with it.
So the upgrade's not good, but then also by not doing it, they're kind of punishing you as well. So either way, it's
Exactly.
kind of crappy. Is that what's going on with
Yes.
your new Apple iPhone?
Yes, that is what it's
Hmm.
not a new iPhone. It's just an iPhone 13.
What's
But
the
what are they
newest
at?
one?
Like 15, 16, 17?
I don't know. I just heard the latest, greatest one wasn't worth it because they were supposed to have some feature on it that they didn't even have at the time. And so it really wasn't worth it. I forget what it was. Maybe it was AI being added to it or something. I forget. I
The
thought you,
the new, I think it's Google Pix,
yeah,
looks pretty epic.
I know. I think they're going to give Apple a run for their money.
Yeah.
And so as you see a couple of new people coming on here.
Yeah, F Trudy, cool.
Yeah.
What are they saying? What was that comment there?
So interesting. Sorry. Interslaving is bad or was bad. Interpaving, I think.
Oh,
Interslaving.
okay.
That's an interesting take on it,
Got
though.
it.
Or was bad, but why isn't Valley and Glencore paying a ton of
It's true.
to fix the roads? Yeah, no, that's true.
They
There's
should be.
there's a really great documentary. It was on Netflix. I don't think it is anymore. Called The Whole Story, the HOLE story about mining in Northern Ontario, and it really, sheds a lot of light on how those deals that were made back in the day, where the mining companies basically are just pillaging us and they don't pay the proper taxes that they need to be paying, that any other company these days, when they negotiate with a community or a province or a country, when they want to do business, would have to do these days, but they just got carte blanche. They don't have to do anything for the community. Apparently, they've only had to pay taxes on buildings that are on the surface, and then they just don't have buildings on the surface, so they don't have to pay taxes. And where'd they get all this land from in the first place? I remember I had a house that my backyard was valet property. I bet you if I went to them saying, show me the deed to this property when you bought it, I bet you don't even have one because you probably never bought it. This is not really your land.
No. And you go to the Sudbury Dynamic Earth and you listen to how Sudbury was created, and they literally tell you in the video that it was a couple families, the Rockefeller family, that came to Sudbury and industrialized Sudbury. So it's just like, and we used to have a town square called the Rockefeller Square.
Yeah, it was Rockefeller, but done through J.P. Morgan, who owned Inco. He started Inco. And also
through probably the Rockefellers' investments.
Well,
yeah.
No. He was totally like under Rockefeller's thumb. So J.P. Morgan was Inco, and what's his nose was Glencore. They name the building after him. There, he was a rival with Tesla. He invented the light bulb, apparently. Thomas Edison. So Thomas Edison started Falconbridge. If I said Glencore, I apologize for that. But what is now Glencore, Falconbridge, the precursor to that, Thomas Edison. And Thomas Edison lived in Sudbury for, I think, 2.5, 3 years, something like that. So it's basically like a wealthy industrialist,
think we realize how deep Sudbury goes, like worldwide. Like, I don't think we really realize how much money is being created right here in our hometown. And so we don't see the effects, like, we don't know the effects of the water this is doing to us, to the soil, to our, like, we don't really know.
Well, we do know what it did do. Remember, all of the lakes were
Yeah.
all full of
So
acid
now
and
it's
all the
fine
trees were
because
gone.
exactly. So now it's fine though, Aaron, because we have trees.
Well, I think
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, the problem didn't go away. It's
right.
just, it's a little better now.
And it went, where did it go now? Where did the problem go?
Well, it went to North Bay when we made the super stack kind of thing. It just blew over to other communities. But yeah, no, it did a number on the community. And were there any, if you talk about, with how the indigenous movement is going, and you talk about reconciliation and things like that for the past of things that have been done wrong. And this whole green movement is so big, but you don't talk about reconciliation for companies that have totally decimated, land masses, and then they have to reconcile somehow financially. But that would be suicide for the city, possibly, because then Valley would just close up shop because they own so many other mines. It really wouldn't even affect them that much. And they just have mass layoffs. They just announced in their management because nickel prices are low. But so this is a very layered thing.
Yeah.
And there's no easy solutions to it, but they got one of the greatest deals in the world where they didn't have to pay taxes. And it's a secret deal with the province that to this day, we're not able to see the details of that deal that originally Inco and Falconbridge and other companies in Northern Ontario had with the provincial government. And it's said that more than likely it was the money from Northern Ontario that basically painted the streets of Bay Street in Toronto with gold. And if it wasn't for Northern Ontario's natural resources, you wouldn't even have a Bay Street. Because what does Toronto have in terms of natural resources? What do they offer? What can they turn into a commodity? They just have people.
Yep.
Now they have manufacturing and they have whatever, right? But it was the money that was made from Northern Ontario that basically gave Ontario the wealth that we have. And it's secret. We still to this day don't know that deal. Imagine
so
that.
Interesting.
Imagine that. And if we did, what do you think? Why do you think it's secret?
Right, exactly. Why wouldn't they just let us know? Why aren't they being open about it? But hey, so this is where we're at.
So the whole story, if you get a chance, you can just, I think it was National Film Board of Canada, so it's not like it's a conspiratorial documentary or anything. And it's a former miner. He's got a French accent, and he narrates it. Did a wonderful job. It's so good. Former Mayor Rodriguez was interviewed in it, and he was also saying very much the same things we're saying, that we got a raw deal and it needs to be somehow looked at.
I sent the link to the chat, the whole story. It's a feature documentary. Richard Desjardins and Robert Mondary continue the same. Anyway, and okay.
Where did you find it? Is it National Film Board of Canada's website?
Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
Exactly. See, so it's not conspiratorial.
And it looks like you can watch it on YouTube.
Yeah. So good. It's such a good documentary. And it's about your neck of the woods, right? And the history of it. So it's a great watch. They do a good job. It's not boring whatsoever. Talks about what we were talking about here. And Trevor shared
I love true stories.
Me too. And Trevor shared a link earlier, and I love when Trevor shares links. He says, "I dare you to watch this and share this."
Yeah. What was it?
I don't know. I'm going back here, but it's in the comments. So there it is. I'll put it up on the screen here for anybody watching. But I mean, you can't click it on the screen or anything, but you can go into the comments and find it. So I don't know what it's about. I can't share links. I can't, like, if someone shared the link right now and I could open it and play it in real time, that would be great. But my situation here with the technology that I'm using, I can't do that. So
that's so annoying. Come on, technology.
But again, maybe it's good because if someone shared something that I wouldn't wanted to put on, well, it is what it is. So I just encourage people, than to go and watch it. And he double dares anyone to
Double
watch
dares.
or share that video, right? Now, a lot of people these days are afraid of information, and I understand that, and it's ignorance is bliss and all that stuff. But I assure you that understanding the world you live in a little bit more each day, there are more benefits and rewards than just keeping ourselves in ignorance of things.
But why would you ever be afraid of any type of information? Because I'm like, if I watch something, it's like I could decide if I agree or disagree. And if I get really caught up, really, sometimes I have conversations with people during COVID and I'm like, guys, like they are lying to you. And they would get so upset. And I'm like, why are you getting so upset right now? Like, ask yourself, why are you getting so upset? Maybe because there is a crack in your belief system and I am opening it a little bit wider. Like, why can't your brain just, maybe it's because I'm a creative person, Aaron. Maybe it's creative people that are able to open up their minds and be like, that kind of makes a little bit of sense. Like I'm open to that. Where other people are just like, no, I'm used to everything just fitting in a box and I don't like that idea.
And
I don't know.
I think you hit it on the head, which was protecting your own beliefs. Because in our we're protectionist for what we strongly believe in, and if someone comes in and tries to change that, it's a very intimate thing what we believe in, and we need to give permission for someone to get into that circle and influence us. And sometimes we don't believe we're being manipulated by the very thing we think isn't doing it, which I would say mainstream media. If we just kind of watch it without our guards up, mainstream media will do the very thing to people and influence them that they wouldn't want someone to do in the first place, but they don't realize it's happening. Right?
Yeah.
And so you have to question everything, and do your own research on everything. That's it. And then go with your gut after that. But some people aren't interested. They just aren't. And it is what it is. Some people are curious, some people aren't. And that's okay, I guess. So if that's where you're coming from, that's fine.
Yeah. I remember sitting down with some of my friends and I was just like, one day it might be illegal for you to have a garden. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if one day we're not even allowed to have a garden. And then someone very intelligent, based on the world, with a university degree. So you would think, well, worldly, it would be like, wow, she's intelligent. Says, well, yeah, because that takes away people's jobs. And I'm like, whoa.
Like, let's not do the right thing because it takes away people's jobs. Is that what you're saying, kind of in a nutshell?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, me having a garden doesn't take away people's job. It actually fuels our economy. Do you know how much stuff and supplies I buy to build a garden?
Yeah, no, it's true. I know it's very narrow-minded because you have a garden. It's going to take away people's jobs. Okay. Do I know the person that told you that at all?
No.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, but there are, again, people believe things, and it's interesting to hear all the things people believe. And I don't say I believe everything that's true too, because I'm a work in progress, but I'd like to at least be open-minded and kind of keep adding a little bit of truth every day, understand things a little bit more. And, and that's the way I grow. It's like a muscle. My brain's a muscle. My heart's a muscle. My gut feeling, I'm always
growing,
exercising it and growing and learning, okay, I was right about that,
Exactly. And Aaron, we're both people who are like, oh, I was totally wrong about this.
Exactly.
And I was wrong. And like, now I saw the other side of the coin that I never saw before. And so we're okay. I'm okay with being wrong. Like, I'm okay with being wrong. I have no shame in that. We have to be open to that. How are we supposed to evolve? Like, obviously I'm ignorant to a lot of information, and the only way to not be ignorant is to be faced with information. But a lot of people don't want to grow. And to me, that's mind blowing to me. And I think, Aaron, most of my life, I thought I was stupid. So it's been the biggest blessing of my life because all I want to do is learn because I don't want to be stupid. I felt like I was less than. So because of that, I've been wanting to be with like successful people and people that I look up to so I could learn and grow. So that's brought me a lot of blessings, where some people maybe were just always the smart kid and just really good book smart, and everything was right and they got awards and life was just so good. So they just want to stay there.
Yeah. The only thing
Right.
we do know is that we know more about nothing than we know about something. We know
Yeah.
less than we know. Like there's just so much to know and we know so little. That's the one thing we know for sure. Even if you think you're so smart about something, there's so much more to learn than you know.
It's true.
And that's just the human experience, and that's why we're here. And
The human experiment.
I don't know if so much of an experiment, but it's the human condition for sure. I think it's very purposeful that we're here. I think
Oh,
there's
yeah. Well, there's
it's
always a
not
purpose
an
to the
accident.
experiment.
Yeah, it's not an accident whatsoever.
No, there's
I see
definitely a
what you're
purpose.
saying. You arguably could say experiment for sure. Yeah, that's yeah, I'll get yeah. See, I
And
just
then there's
learned something.
experiment. Yeah, there's experiments within the experiment. Like today, the experiment is, what kind of day are you going to have?
Yeah.
And what are you going to take with your experiment? Like, what are you going to go this way, that way? Are you,
Yeah, every
gonna
day's
go?
an experiment, right?
Yeah.
So we try things out, things work, things don't. You learn, you move on.
Yeah.
And we move on to Earshot Daily coming up in 1 minute on CKLU 96.7 FM. And then you go to work and then you got to drive home and all those things. But I'm so glad you joined me this morning. Anytime you want, you just text me like you did just before the show and say I'm coming on, and it works. So we roll with the punches. Everyone enjoys it as well and is happy to see you back, as I know. And
thank you.
thanks.
I could join on Monday.
There you go. So
There you go. I'll be
you'll
here
see you,
Monday.
Nick, again on Monday here on Sudbury News Talk on CKLU 96.7 FM, Facebook, YouTube, all those things. And so looking forward to seeing you there. Have a great weekend, Nick. And
Thank you.
We'll see you back on Monday. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. Thank everybody for commenting and being part of the show each and every day. We really appreciate you. Got all the comments up on the screen. Didn't have much time to read a lot of them out today. I apologize for that, but thanks for being on. And stay safe, everyone, and have a happy Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
We'll see you on Monday. Ciao, everyone.
Bye.